For more on the assessing performances of the National Assembly members within a one-year period, I'm joined now by Chibuzor. Okereke is a legislative and policy expert and also a convener of the Erudite Growth and Advancement Foundation. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you. Good evening.
You've been leading this cause, a very interesting one. First off, what's the sense behind this assessment? What's the objective?
So, legislative governance accountability is very key. And in this 10th Assembly, the legislative agenda focuses on citizens' participation and also open parliament. And we want to create a framework that equips citizens with digital interactive dashboard to be able to make sense of legislative practices and procedure, and also empower the legislature in terms of horizontal accountability to have a legacy of legislative activities. So if your legislative agenda is focusing on certain key socioeconomic areas, the barometer allows us to assess you and know whether the issues you bring in the floor of the National Assembly reflect the aspiration and concerns that you have captured in your legislative agenda. So, as of today, through this digital interactive dashboard, if you leave the National Assembly and you can say that when you were there, you were big on women issues, education, health. We can interrogate the data and know how many issues that you pushed at the time. So I think the National Assembly, and we are grateful to the Speaker for sending a representation and all the National Assembly members that were there, because this is very important that we restore the glory of the chamber, and which is robust debate on legislative proposals. So if you didn't maybe bring a bill, you could contribute into another bill brought by somebody. If you didn't sponsor a motion, you could contribute to debate in a motion sponsored by another lawmaker. If you didn't bring a petition, you could participate in the consideration of reports from a committee. So there are different metrics and areas of legislative instruments that were assessed.
Interesting. Now, these 4 senators out of 109 that you say did not even contribute anything at all, and of course 48 reps members. How many reps do we have? About 360 in the House. Scored 0. Does this call for worry, or is there a template to compare what we have here in Nigeria and with elsewhere, what obtains elsewhere? Or is this indicative of, adding to the point that you also made, that there's a decline in the quality of debates? What may be responsible for that? Is it that mediocrity is beginning to have the upper hand in our National Assembly? Is that what's playing out?
Globally, legislatures are being perceived in 3 ways. First, they are gentleman club legislature, representative legislature, and mediator legislature. And of course, there is high turnover in the National Assembly. In this 10th Assembly, Senate has nearly 80%, House over 70%. That is the number of new legislators that come. So if you even look at 12% of House of Rep members not making any contribution, is even a small percentage compared to the rate of turnover and the amount of people who made a contribution. But we also have disaggregated data on the frequency or rate of contribution. How many did 1 to 4, 5 to 10, and in that order. Senate 4. And you look at it, you see that many of them were also sacked by court, and some had other challenges that may have affected them. But what is interesting about this report, that it offers us the scope of legislative actions of members at plenary. And we want to be clear that our scope, was very clear, that we want to focus on deliberations within the plenary. So that, because the legislature is a deliberative assembly. The decision making is through a collegiate process. And how much of your voice that reflects in every policy proposal is important in the quality of that policy and how the people will implement it.
In your overall assessment of the performance in terms of vis-a-vis the impact or the reflection in the desires of Nigerians, how would you score the National Assembly? And I would also like you to assess the female lawmakers' performance. I mean, you did that in this report.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So if you look at the sectorial focus of the report, which is actually the first time we are having a matrix that looks at deliberation and try to locate it within dominant sectors. You could see in the Senate, economy, security, education, health dominate issues being discussed, which is also reflective of the concern of Nigerians. In the House of Representatives, you could see security, economy, health, education, and all that. So now you see that deliberations in the Senate take the character of the issues that Nigerians face. But the resolutions from those deliberations, how are they applied to bring a change in the situation that the people are facing?
Where
and
the
this
gap
is where the gap is in interrogating the report, and we are bringing even further opinion pieces and qualitative analysis as to the fact that it's just more than deliberating on these issues. The resolutions must now reflect policy action that bring about change in the socio-economic well-being of the people.
Absolutely.
But for now, we have the data, and then we cannot take it further to say, what do we do? Since we are doing this deliberation, but the policy actions have not reflected a change in the socio-economic well-being of the people.
I know the women folk, it's not very representative, both in the Senate and in the House. But how would you rate the performance?
So on purpose, we had to place a spotlight on gender, because 4 women in the Senate, just about 16 in the House of Representatives. If you don't spotlight women, it will be lost in the aggregate, data. So when we did that, you could see the senator from Lagos. Lagos has 3 senators, 2 male senators, and 1 female. And she is the one that is leading, which also...
Adebule, right?
Yes, Senator Idiat Adebule. So, which also shows that women have the capacity, they have the cognitive, legislative ability, despite being there as a first time, and she's delivering more than even the male counterpart. And if you also look at her contribution in more than 4 state senators, she towers above them. If you come to the House of Representatives, Honorable Miriam Onoha, in terms of women, is leading in terms of legislative actions within the plenary. And we are very clear that we are focusing on trying to restore the quality of debate, trying to make sure that more legislators' voices reflect in the policy process. We are
now that they know there's this, that should keep them on their toes, hopefully, going forward. Very quickly, I mean, the lawmakers who do well are a threat to others. That's what I got from that report earlier, where, Ndoma Egba was mentioned that he did very well, but hey, he did not come back. Is there a threat to those who are doing well? That puts them in trouble.
So
to the extent that they may not even come back.
It's actually just, and I've told many people, this is not an award. This is a report that gives us data to deal with. Now, there are many factors that affect a lawmaker being able to return. In fact, most times, what you are doing in plenary will not even help you, by your constituent. And that is also the need for political literacy. People have to understand that we have federal, state, and local government. The National Assembly is actually under serious pressure because a little crisis in one village in a constituency will result to a motion in the National Assembly with a resolution to ask an agency that is in Abuja to go to one faraway village, which means the local government system has failed, And the State Assembly too is having problem in this area. So I believe with the data we have put together, it should be embraced by stakeholders, and then it will result to better quality debate and engagement with policy proposals. The report will tell you the number of legislators who contributed in any big issue. If you talk about ratification of a state of emergency, in our next session report, it will show you that the tax reform bills that are done before, it will tell you. So this is what the report will highlight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'll have you back, of course, to still discuss other issues, especially when it comes to new lawmakers who say that the sitting position
and citizens are welcome to navigate the website and get here.
Okay. Chibuzor Okereke, legislative policy expert, and he is also convener of Erudite Growth and Advancement Foundation, joining us tonight on Newsnight. Thank you very much.